Hello everyone and welcome to LSI F1 Championship. We're today for the Hungarian Grand Prix round 7 out of 16. Already got 10 races left to go. I do not believe it. Time is flying, I will have to say. It's pretty scary indeed. We're here for the Hungarian Grand Prix Budapest. Hungaroring, a lovely, lovely circuit. Probably a driver favourite. Some people say this would be their favourite circuit. It's very, very flowing. It's a classic as well. It's not like a modern geometric type, I guess you could say. It's very difficult on the tyres, on the car, and for overtaking as well. There is a slight disadvantage in that sense. We have the world champion, the reigning world champion, looking to try and extend the championship lead. Are they going to get pole? They are sitting on the top spot for now. 10 minutes to go of the session. Zingy doing an amazing job this season, and so far an amazing job in the qualifying session as well. Ruleton is here. A 16.2 is the gap. Or is the next lap time, I should say. And then the 16.3 is where Nifojan is in P3. Then we have Quibus, of course, PJ. We do have a small grid, we'll admit, but we can still have a very, very good race. We've had very, very good races with much smaller grids. So, yeah, don't be worried about that. We'll be good to go. It's Hungary as well. It's usually a very tricky track to get around, which can create for some pretty good excitement as well, and I think we'll be in a good one. Now Nifo, don't know if they're pushing. They've got a lot of ERS here. I'm not sure if they're just doing a cooldown lap. I would say they might be, but to be honest, around a circuit like this where it's so high tyre wear, you probably wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, they've got a lot of ERS. Maybe they're just doing an in-lap. I guess they would be. There's plenty of time to go for another 2 runs anyway, so yeah, unless they are going to switch on the ERS now and go for another one, then we'll have to wait and see. Quibus actually pushes himself up into a 16.1. Lovely, lovely stuff. Nifo is into the pits as expected. We've got Dougie Falcons in P9 right now. Didn't qualify last time around the race, which was not last race, it was the race before that, which I believe was Singapore. So yeah, Dougie Falcons returns to the grid. Lovely to see them. Up the hill now into turn 4. Don't want to ride it too hard on the inside, but you can ride it somewhat. They definitely ride it, but not as hard as we used to in the old game, of course. You will bottom out a lot harder, just just in case you're gonna make sure you stay off it. Waffle galore. Alrighty, now into the second sector. Already in the second sector for quite a long time, heading towards the third sector now through the S section. Nice and flowing, trail braking, gotta make sure you get the first one right, otherwise you'll have a chain reaction and you'll lose a lot of time. Now we're into the third sector, purple middle sector for Dougie Falcons here, as he goes into turn 12, out of turn 12, into turn 13, trail braking, careful not to get on that curb on the outside, otherwise you will spin the car around on locking the rears. Around the final corner and get on the throttle as soon as you possibly can. Keep the car straight, get that traction down across the line, and it is a P3, a 16.2. Pushes himself just ahead of Ruleton. And they got another 10th to try and catch Quibus, but right now Zingy is looking absolutely clear by 4/10 to the rest of the field, and they're on an outlap to try and defend their current position. I need to get ready. We've got PJ on a cooldown lap. I think they're going to go again. We'll watch on board with Ruleton to see what they can do. And in that lovely McLaren livery, good to see a McLaren out on track for this weekend's races. We do have that new livery with us in the game. Of course, the Ferrari livery is unfortunately gone. We have Egapro on a lap very close to Ruleton. Ruleton had to be a bit careful there. Egapro goes across the line and they put themselves in P6. Now Ruleton will go for it into turn 1, brake just before the curb on the outside. Bit of a lock up for Ruleton, but not too bad. Staying clear of the inside curb, which can be a technique, I guess you could say. Now into turns 2. Go braking through, open up the steering, get towards the outside curb, ride that inside curb, and now you head towards turn 4 up the hill. Once again, don't ride the inside too hard, but you do want to ride it somewhat. Keep the momentum high. Now into turns 5. Keep it smooth, open up the steering again, get on that curb, got to be careful with the bottoming out. Now into turns 6 and 7, lovely stuff, ride that curb. Now into 8, up to 9, and then of course exiting towards 10, and then we head to turn 11. Really got to just tap the brakes very, very lightly, use the engine braking, let the car slow itself down. Now we head to turn 12. Riding that inside curve quite hard, it gave them a little bit of instability. Still looks like a tidy lap, but a little bit of instability there. Late on the throttle, but they still managed to get on it quite smoothly. Now the final corner they go. What's it going to be? Rulaton across the line. And it is a 15.8, a tenth behind Zingy there. They still have time for one more lap if they can find that extra tenth, but Zingy is on a lap himself, and he's going to try and look to improve. Don't quite know what the time is right now they're lifting, so they're not going to actually be improving this time around, but they'll have another go very, very soon. Quibus, could they have a look at pole position here? Their teammate, unfortunately, is no longer racing LSI, but they are looking pretty good. They've had some very good races, some great pace. I reckon Quibus could, if not win, maybe compete for the championship title. Quibus is very, very quick. They just need that little extra edge, and they will be up there with Zingy. And yeah, Quibus just needs to get good luck with the strategy, with the safety cars as well. He's looking promising. I think we can see something happen. It's just a matter of time. Let's see where they can put it on the grid. PJ goes into the pit lane. They're not going to start another lap. We will watch on board with the Haas as he goes as wide as he possibly can to open up the lap. Lovely stuff. Trying to gain as much time as you possibly can there. That's what we want to see. Awesome job. Alrighty. David, unfortunately, driving without no force feedback again. Trying his best. I do respect it, but unfortunately the game is just not working. And a 15.712. Wow. 0.008 seconds faster than Zingy there. Goes Nifo. That is amazing. Lovely stuff. Didn't see that one coming. I wasn't quite paying attention to who was on a lap or not. Quibus is going to try their best to try and snatch that away as well. Zingy, all of a sudden, looking not quite so comfortable on that top spot. He's got a little bit of a strategy to make. Does he want to save a set of tyres for later or not? As that Quibus is going off the circuit, this lap might have to be aborted. I reckon he's going to have to go to the pit lane now and go for one more outlap, because he's not going to have enough time to complete this. Then go for the cooldown lap, but a big, big mistake as Quibus goes off the circuit. Are they going to go straight into the pit lane? Yes, they will. No surprise there. That is very unfortunate for Quibus, but they will still have another opportunity. Zingy's on his way out to react to Nifo. Nifo scaring them a little bit. They've got to be careful here. Eager Pro comes around the final corner to finish their lap. What's it going to be? It's not going to be an improvement position-wise. That's if they're actually just starting this lap or not. We'll watch on board as we go through the first sector and see as they get close to the inside curb. Not quite so much to the outside curb. Bit of a correction. And then head down into turn 2. Late braking as much as you can, late and long. That sounds very, very disturbing, but I promise it's a racing term, nothing else. And they are improving by a tenth and almost a tenth and a half. Another correction as they go up the hill, unfortunately, trying to push the limits as much as they possibly can. Now we head into the tight chicane. You've got to kind of compromise the first corner to really ride the second corner as hard as you possibly can. Looking nice with the trail braking, using the curves a little bit for that rotation. You can use that a little bit. Not sure if it's the fastest way, but it definitely does help. And a bit of an invalidation, unfortunately, as they get the rear right over the curb and out of track limits. Unfortunately, that will invalidate their lap time. Zingy is up next to try and improve. We got Geisler and Davin on outlaps. We got everybody else who will be coming on outlaps very, very soon. Quibus on an outlap as well to try and look for a possible pole position. Rulaton trying to take back what they had earlier on. They were sat on top for basically the first half of qualifying. Now Zingy has that very tight chicane. Let's see how he rides it. Nicely done. Straightens up the car, aiming it to the outside curb. As soon as he gets there, straightens it again. riding on the concrete on the outside of the track limits. That's where you try and gain as much as you can by using all of the circuit. Looking very, very tidy here. It's a tenth and a half almost up. It's looking good enough for pole position, but would it be enough to actually defend from the rest of the drivers behind? I don't quite know. Zingy, the final corners to go now. Is he going to be able to improve any more? It will be pole at this rate. Is it going to be by how much? And it is almost 2 tenths. Lovely stuff. A 15.5. Awesome job there from Zingy. Nifo has now got to try and take this one. Quibus is starting a lap here. Zingy isn't going to get another lap in, I don't think so. Eagerpro's retired. They've given up as well. They don't have enough time anyway. The timing just wasn't there for the session, for the runs. Zingy might have one more opportunity, but they'd have to go twice on this tyre, and that would be very, very difficult to do. Quibus trying their best. We'll watch on board until we get to Sector 2, see if they are improving or not. Comes through Turn 3, heading towards... Turn 3, I should say. Comes through Turn 2 into 3. Rides that curb on the inside as much as you possibly can, as much as you dare as well. And what's it going to look like improvement-wise? Just under a tenth there. So they've got a bit more to gain if they want to actually get a fastest lap. And we'll watch and see what Rouleton can do here, as they're going to cross that first sector line. See if they can possibly have a nab at pole position. Are they improving? They are, but not by much. Not by much. And no, no! Nifo spun it on the exit of turn 1, and they will not improve. Dougie Falcons, their teammate, might have a go at 16.2 is their lap time. I think that's it for them. And Zingy retires from the session. That is them done. They will not get another lap in. Quibus, he's got a final corner to go. He'll try and challenge for pole position. Is it going to be possible? Quibus crosses the line. And it's going to be a P3 in the end. Rouleton might have a chance here. Nifo spins at the very, very end and unfortunately will not get a chance to go for pole. They're still sat on the second or first row of the grid in P2 at the moment. Rouleton's going to try and change that. Where are they going to put themselves? Across the line they go, very close to track limits. And it's a P3. They push Quibus back down, but it's not enough for an improvement. I do not believe it. As we have Dougie Falcons looking to set its final lap time. Got a Red Bull up ahead. They back off, let him go. And Heisler, I don't know if they're going to get a purple middle sector there, as it says, for Dougie Falcons. Is it going to be enough to try and challenge for pole position? They got to gain a lot of time if they want to get one, as they come around the final corner now. Very tight lines. Across the line they'll go. A bit of an oversteering moment off the circuit. They're going to lose a lot of time for that one. They do improve by 2 tenths, but unfortunately it will not be enough to go up any positions. Heisler, he is not going to be improving, unfortunately. That's Zingy on pole position, Nifo in P2, and we have Rouleton taking a P3 in the end. A very, very nice quality session to get us warmed up for the start of the race. Lovely stuff indeed. Just waiting for a couple of people to retire from the session, and then we'll be good to go, of course. Zingy looking very, very comfortable at the moment. There was a bit of a moment where I thought he might not have had it, but almost 2 tenths clear. Actually, no, it is. We'll wait and see what the time screen says. But yeah, that is an amazing, amazing job there from Zingy. Well done to him. He's going to be controlling the pace right from the get-go, and that's going to be an extreme advantage around a circuit like this. Zingy takes pole position. We have Nifo in P2 and Rouleton in P3. That was by 0.182 seconds in the end. We'll skim through the race director just in case, and then we'll be back for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Ready, hold. Go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Looks like Ziggy gets away well. Will there be a comeback from Niffo? Yes, there will. Possibly no. They defend to the inside. Niffo goes to the outside. Ruleton gets a good start, but Quebus bogs down off the line. I don't believe it. And Ziggy maintains the lead as Niffo as the south of P2 goes defensive into turn two. However, Niffo having a quick look. A switchback is available. Niffo could have a go here. Is there going to be a run up into turn four? Goes off circuit just a little bit as they try and keep the momentum as high as possible. It's not enough in the end. Niffo will have to maintain that P2, sparking, and that is Ruleton holding that P3 position. Dougie Falcons once again, the master of starts, into P4 as he makes positions off the line. Quebus had a big issue off the line there. I don't quite know what just happened, but Igapro jumped them as well. That's 2 positions lost. Igapro is on the medium, so they're going to be looking to try and push at the start of this race, of course. Quebus, Geisler, Robbo, Davin further back, right behind as they actually get pressure by PJ on the inside, have to leave the space for the Williams. The Williams to the outside line now, going off the circuit as Davin does squeeze him a little bit too harshly, but I don't know, that might just about be fair. And they manage to keep the position. Does Davin a big mistake, and that will be PJ taking that one. We have Niffo having a quick look at their braking point just to quickly spot it as they start lap 2 of the race. Alrighty, so Ruleton sits in P3, but there's a little bit of a gap forming, so they've got to be careful that they don't lose the top 2, otherwise they're going to be in big trouble here. They can see them, but they're not as close as the car behind, and that's always a little bit of a threat, a little bit daunting as well to think about. So Zingy leads the way. I want to have a quick look at the tyre situation. I think everybody is on the hards, except from Igor. Yes, they are all on the hard tyre, looking good so far for the rest of the grid, but Igor really needs to make some moves here. We're going to watch on board as that's a bit of a mistake there from the Ferrari in the background. But yeah, Igapro has to try and make these tyres work. They're going to be nice and warm very quickly, especially around the circuit like this. A bit of an outbreaky moment, but nothing too much to worry about. And that's a yellow for Heisler, unfortunately down in P10 now after making a mistake on the exit of turn 12. That will be them trying to make their way back through the field. And luckily, I think they haven't got any damage. They should be good to go, as that is DRS enabled. We will get this on the next lap, and Zingy goes for a fastest lap. 6/10 behind is Niffo. Ruleton still not as close as the car behind is to them, but they are within DRS range at the moment. Niffo probably going to try and look at working together here with Zingy to try and extend that gap and lose the DRS in the opening stages so they can relax and try and focus on who's going to win the race out of 2 people. Because, you know, the chances are of winning a race against 2 people is 50-50 compared to 3. So, yeah, that's probably the plan right now. Ruleton not able to keep up with the cars ahead, and Dougie Falcons realizes that he's going to try and probably find a move soon. Very good Dougie Falcons off the line. So, yeah, really interesting stuff. And I will quickly say the top 4, currently 3 of the top 4 are all controller drivers. So lovely stuff to see. Niffo, the only driver on the wheel right now. And yeah, it's pretty crazy, but you know, controller's not easy, but it's not exactly slow either. DRS will not be available. Niffo will get a hint of it, but look at Zingy way too far ahead. Will Dougie Falcons have a go? No, no one is going to have a go further back the order. I think it is all just kind of gone right now. Igapro did get a DRS from the car ahead, so they were close enough. It will help them gain a little bit, but right now 1.1 seconds. They're going to have to look behind them for a moment and see if there's going to be any possible threats. After that DRS has come around, there's been a lot of people splitting up all of a sudden, of course. Everybody who did get DRS pulls away from the others. So looking at the grid, Niffo is in a very good position, sat behind Zingy, but with the clean air that Zingy will have, Nifo will probably want to be in P1 actually. It's just if they can get a good enough run and get close enough throughout the lap to get a move on that straight, because the straight is the only real opportunity to overtake, but also it's not that long, and it makes it really, really difficult to actually get any passes done, and that's Heisler retiring at turn 11 on lap 4 out of 35, but no safety car will be deployed, as that is Nifo getting a good run. They're very, very close, but look at the straight line speed. It's not enough for them to actually challenge, and they're not going to be able to close up. Still a yellow flag, but no safety car is deployed, and Nifo so close, but Zingy sparking away up front. Alrighty, further behind we've got Dougie Falcons still trying to put pressure here on Ruleton. Can't get close enough to Ruleton, but still Ruleton's losing time to the guys ahead, so Dougie Falcon's going to be a bit frustrated with the situation as it is. Eager Pro looking to close up on the guys ahead. He's managed to find a bit of pace, of course, whereas Quibus has lost a bit of time, unfortunately. David making a couple of mistakes further back the field, unfortunately, struggling with those wheel issues. Unfortunately, there's not really much we can do about that other than hope that there's a software fix in the future. But yeah, we'll have to investigate it and see what we can do. But I do apologise for Davin and all the Davin fans out there. It's a heck of a shame. Alrighty, Dougie Falcons might have a look here. We'll first look at the top two, of course. Will there be a possible move with Nifo? No, way too far behind. However, Dougie Falcons might have a look. No, that is absolutely mega. Ruleton pulling away on the straight. So actually, Dougie Falcons faster in the corners, but not as quick in the straight line. So Ruleton's got a very good setup here as they actually catch up to the cars ahead. So yeah, amazing stuff right there. We've got Davin making a mistake once again. The car is very difficult to manage, and that is unfortunately then going to be losing more and more time. 3 seconds for Zingy. A 3-second time penalty for Zingy here. That's not good. That is not good at all. Davin crashes into the wall, and that might trigger a safety car. Doesn't look like it for now. I am glad that didn't happen, because that wasn't an ideal way to retire the car. So Zingy will not have to worry about a safety car, and at this stage he will not want one, of course, because if he does get one, he's going to be in big trouble with that time penalty. He's going to hope that everybody else behind does get a time penalty as well. Otherwise, if Nifo stays in the DRS for the rest of this race, Nifo's going to look at the first double win of the season. Dougie Falcons sat in P4, can't do anything at the moment. Look at the McLaren just slip away as they get onto the straight. I say that, I've been instantly made fun of as he catches just a little bit there. Lovely stuff, but yeah. Alrighty. Nifo very, very close to Zingy right now, 3/10. I say, it looks very, very close on the timing screens, 3/10 to 4/10, but on track around the circuit like this, it doesn't look that close. You need to be about 2/10 behind if you actually want to have a go. If you want to have a move, you need to be about 3/10 behind if you want to actually make an overtake on the straight. And that's if the car ahead of you has a low downforce setup or not. If they have a low downforce setup, you are screwed, and you have to get an absolute blinder of a middle sector and try and send one on the inside before you get to the third sector. So yeah, that's a very difficult situation. Strategy is going to be very key here with an undercut or an overcut. Now Zingy looking in a very good position, just defending from Ruleton. Not Ruleton, well they are, but Nifo is right behind them, so Ruleton is way further behind. As Nifo does catch a little bit, but nothing significant. Dougie Falcons is close, getting a faithful of Sparks, but not close enough to make a move. And Eager Pro's round! Eager Pro's round! I don't believe it! losing the car on the exit of turn 1. That's going to cause a bit of a scare for Quibus. Quibus will have the middle sector to try and catch up to Rillaton and Dougie Falcons. A moment of clean air for them now, but that could be a possible DRS train the Quibus lost if they're not careful, so they have to try and push here and regain that P4. Not ideal there, as they lose it on the curb as well. So they're struggling a little bit here. Not ideal. Quibus can still look at a good position here. They maintain, or regain I should say, the position that they started in. But right now, they need to try and get their act together if they want to catch up to the train. But other than that, they could find themselves losing it. We've got, of course, Eager Pro making that mistake just then. The tyres maybe getting a little bit too hot. We've got PJ further at the back of the grid. And Robbo's made a very recent pit stop, getting a time penalty as we speak, but on the soft tyre. So looking to go absolutely mega with the pace. Nippo looking so close, but around the circuit like this, as I keep saying, it's just not close enough, as that is Rillaton taking an interestingly tight line on entry. It's not going to compromise them enough. They're just trying to go a little bit defensive, but they don't have the pace to catch up to the cars ahead. They're just stuck out of the DRS range and just trying to defend for themselves here. Doesn't look like they're exactly struggling on the ERS, so I do reckon maybe some people are trying to rock those low downforce setups. Now, I tested this in practice, a high to a low downforce setup. The high downforce setup was obviously superior, but the low downforce setup does make it a lot more difficult to pass if you're an attacking car. Now, the thing is, if you go so low down, it's not actually a benefit anymore because of the nature of the circuit. I don't know what the correct balance would be, though, for a low downforce setup, because I usually go pretty extreme on the low downforce, and wow, that was some mega lag there for Dougie Falcons, almost going off into the barrier it seemed. Right now they stay within 6/10 between both trains here, with Niffo and Dougie Falcons being the second carriage, if you like, so not going to be anywhere near close enough to make a move. But at the moment they're just relaxing, and we have Quibus trying their best to catch that 2/10 that they need, and they'll be able to make the battle very, very spicy. They just need to try and wait for the cars ahead to make mistakes, but the cars ahead, they're in zen right now. They don't need to really stress. They're both obviously working hard, both trains, but they're just in a rhythm. They're not exactly attacking each other, because partly the second driver in the train can't actually get close enough to attack, so it does allow everybody to focus. Although, if you are using a low downforce setup and going through the middle sector as such, the high downforce sections, you are going to have to focus a little bit and maybe get your sweat on. So we'll have to wait and see. Niffo once again looking so close through this section, but as soon as it gets to the straight, all of a sudden the gap is a lot bigger. Bit of understeer for Niffo. They had to delay off the throttle, whereas Zingy looking very good. Will they be able to match the throttle here? Does Niffo? No. Gets on the curb, going to lose a bit of time, although Zingy's going to go defensive, feeling a little bit threatened, maybe just trying to keep the mind games up to standard. Don't let anybody get any silly ideas. I'm not quite sure what that movement there was for Zingy. Rillaton, oh, Niffo might have had a look there. They just quickly tried to pressurise Zingy, but nothing too much. I wanted to have a quick look back here, as we do see Dougie Falcons, who's made a mistake. They maintain the DRS, but if they're not careful, they're going to lose it here. They've got to be really, really careful, but Quibus is now looking to be back into this train. So looking good for Quibus. They still need to try and stay with Dougie, but Dougie Falcons could be in trouble. I would like to see if Dougie Falcons would have had the pace if he was out of dirty air. So right now he's maintaining that 9/10 gap. Why I say that, if he loses it, which Rillaton might be able to do, of course he's got a lot of energy on board with him, it's going to be very, very difficult to fight back. Rillaton at the moment, they're pushing. They might even have a chance to catch to the top two. That'd be very, very good news for them, especially with the time penalty situation. Now, riding that inside curve goes Dougie Falcons. We've seen him do that a couple of times now, whereas everybody else doesn't seem to do that. Quibus does have DRS, whereas Dougie Falcons doesn't. It's allowing him to catch a little bit, but not really enough, as Dougie Falcons actually catches a lot in that final sector, and Ruleton has lost a lot, not only to the cars behind, but also to the cars ahead. So Ruleton not so strong in that final sector, but very good in the first sector right here. As that is a yellow, unfortunately, and that will be for Robbo, who's made another mistake, unfortunately. And we'll have to see if they can get back into it later on, but right now, with no safety car, no sign of a safety car! Nifo's round! I don't believe it! Nifo is round! They don't have damage, it's just a spin, but it's put them to P5, and it's a big enough spin to lose them so much, and actually, Ruleton is in P2. Did Nifo try a move, and did they make contact? The top two? I don't quite know, but Zingy's lost a lot of time. All of a sudden, Ruleton's now in the DRS, and something major's happened here. Oh, I don't like the look of this one. I do not like the look of this one. I hope it's not what I think. But yeah, that is an interesting one which we'll have to spot after this race. That was a little bit treacherous, as Zingy now is in P1, but Ruleton, who we know was looking pretty good in the straight line, will now challenge. ERS is absolutely nothing for Zingy, whereas Ruleton is looking close. They catch up a lot, but it's not enough to make any kind of move, and that is actually Quibus ahead of Dougie Falcons. So between all that, both AlphaTauris losing a lot here. That was an interesting one. I don't quite know what happened. Unfortunately for Nifo, they're a little bit further behind. Now, the advantage they have here is that in clean air, they can put some pretty quick lap times in. They will be able to catch up, of course. The lack of DRS straights does help that. The train isn't as powerful as it would be around other circuits, for example. But obviously they need to try and get their act together again. The mood might be a little bit knocked if they're not careful. And also, of course, we have strategies to play for, so they have something to think about. They have to try and focus their thoughts, I guess you could say, because a 5-second gap isn't that easy to catch. Yeah, we'll have to see. Hopefully they can get back in the groove for a bit. We'll be pitting around about lap 18 to 22 on the hard tyre, whereas it's going to be about lap 13 to 16 on the medium tyres, I believe. Either way, we'll see what happens. But Zingy leads the way, 8 tenths he's pulled it to, so really good job there. Ruleton does have Quibus quite close behind, so looking good for Quibus. Might have an opportunity here, and if he could make the move before the pit stops, that would be absolutely legendary for them, of course. We'll have to see. Will Nifo opt for an undercut or an overcut to get ahead of the cars? Because if he goes for the undercut, right, he's going to come out in clean air, probably. And he'll be able to push, of course, and catch up to the guys ahead who are in dirty air. And also the DRS train isn't that much beneficial. If he does the overcut, he'll have clean air, whereas everybody else will be squabbling for position. But he is banking on the fact that everybody does squabble for position. If all of a sudden they decide they don't want to squabble for position, they could be in a little bit more of a difficult situation. As I speak, Quibus has lost about 3 tenths to Ruleton here, so they're looking in a bit of trouble possibly. Looking quick off the last few laps, but right now losing a bit of time. They have to ensure they catch this back up, otherwise they could be under threat by Dougie Falcons, who's looking nice and close once again. Not really close enough to make a move is anybody. It's just a great big train. This maybe needs to be made into a film, I don't quite know. But yeah, Nifo is catching to the cars ahead at this stage, so they might want to take that and try and push for it, but an undercut wouldn't seem like the worst idea, I would probably say. They've just got to hope that everybody else ahead in the train does try. And oh no, Nifo's made a mistake. I think it's gonna have to be an undercut after that one. Not ideal. EagerPro makes the move. They go round, or through I should say. Nifo was the one who went round there. That is not what we want to see at all. Nifo's rhythm has been completely knocked. They were looking so good to begin with, and a spin has not helped it. I think it might be a time for a pit stop in the next couple of laps to try and do what I said, the undercut. PJ makes a mistake, turn 5, unfortunately, as they exit turn 4, so have a quick look. Do they have damage on that car? Lucky to get away with it if they don't, and they do not, so that is pretty good going there for PJ to spin at that corner and not have damage somehow. Unless it was early entry to turn 5, but I don't think it was. I think he leads the way, currently relaxing, although they do have a bit of trouble with their time penalty. All is not lost though, because they will be able to catch up, of course, or get an advantage, I should say, with the pit stop strategies. Zingy's very good at strategies. Maybe he had a bit of an issue back in Singapore in the NA tier, but other than that, he's very, very good at strategies, and he will be able to switch on the tyres, judge them very, very well. So Zingy's going to be in a great position. They just need to make sure that they get it done. When it counts, of course, it couldn't be any more important to get a good strategy here. Everybody else behind, of course, is going to react to them. So there's a bit of pressure right there, but other than that, that'll be good to go. Dougie Falcons has lost DRS range at this stage. They need to try and catch back up, otherwise they will be in trouble as Quibus gets a time penalty. So everybody is slowly racking up those time penalties, as he might actually be in a good position, as that's Dougie Falcons taking an early pit stop. It's not impossible to pit at this stage, but it is a little bit early, I will say. Dougie Falcons looking for that undercut, and it could work very well here. Into the box, onto that medium tyre as expected. Quibus doesn't have DRS, so right now Ruleton's relaxing in the train of 2. Quibus right now isn't. Yeah. Ooh, I'm not quite sure. Was that a benefit for Dougie Falcons to pit at that stage or not? I don't quite know. I will say. So I don't. It was like 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 13 seconds plus 5. Plus 6, I should say, actually. That's going to be about 19 seconds. Let's say just 20 seconds for the pit lane is around about the situation that we have. We'll have to see how it goes. Nifo, not Nifo, this is Nifo in P5. They've got Egapro up ahead, who's on that medium tyre. So they're going to be very, very slow at this stage. Ega's trying to drag it out just a little bit, see if he can maybe wait for a safety car. But at the moment, they're just getting a bit of pressure from Nifo behind. Nifo might want to make a pit stop soon, as everybody else is opting for it now. Like I said, it's not impossible now. This would be more of a suitable lap to actually go for a pit stop, Quibus. Dougie Falcons just made that one lap extra, or earlier pit stop, of course. So that is a benefit for them, as that is also Egapro into the pit lane. Egapro's done very, very well to extend it at this far. Top 2, they're going to try and extend us a little bit more, of course, as it's side by side with Dougie Falcons. A bit of understeer there for Quibus as they're on those cold tyres. They can't find the traction, and that is Dougie Falcons into the lead of the train. Lovely stuff. Well done, Dougie, to keep that, as unfortunately Quibus making a bit of contact with the side pod. Not ideal. Dougie Falcons wouldn't get side pod damage from that. I hope that Quibus doesn't have any wing damage from that, but they're going to have to try and switch these tyres on as soon as they possibly can to make sure they don't lose any more time to Dougie Falcons. But that is not too bad of an undercut. That's fairly powerful. Nifo is staying in P3, trying to react with the guys ahead. Of course, they are the quickest on track at this stage, but in the train, I say the train, they're not actually in a train, as Ruleton is going to extend an extra lap, but Zingy pushed like a madman there. They go one lap later than usual, or as predicted from the game, but it's very, very standard. It's not unheard of course, as he takes out 3 members of the pit crew, but he's still on that medium tyre, looking for the net race lead, and going to get a nice undercut on Ruleton. Nifo in P3, they're going for the pit stop as well. Let's see what they can do, where they're going to come out. Dougie Falcons right now in P3, they're going to have very nicely warmed up tyres, Although the mediums won't take that long to warm up, so Zingy might not really need to worry. Ruleton goes and gets himself a 3 seconds. So Dougie Falcons, without the time penalties, is only the current threat that Zingy has. So if Dougie Falcons can get into the DRS range, he's on for a possible victory here. Whereas if he doesn't, Zingy can possibly run away. We'll have to see. But showing those final few laps there before making that pit stop, Zingy just gave us maybe a glimpse of his actual pace, and maybe he's relaxing at this stage. Might actually be able to push, unless Ruleton made a mistake and I'm just waffling. But yeah, Zingy did a very, very good in-lap, whereas Ruleton is opting for the pit lane pretty late, but they got it done. They go into the pit lane and onto the medium side. They'll go 1 lap later. They're going to lose time, and actually, yes, Dougie Falcons has got the DRS here on Zingy. So Ruleton is going to lose a couple positions. Is it going to be 1 position? Is it going to be 2 positions? If they're right at the back of the train, that's going to be absolutely hell. They're coming through the pit exit now. The cars are going past. Zingy will definitely go past as Dougie Falcons has made a mistake on the exit. Quibus is going to challenge. Ruleton loses both positions. Quibus on the inside. Little bit of understeer, very close to contact, but not enough as Dougie Falcons maintains a slightly defensive move, but it's not enough as Quibus tried to put the pressure on, but it is what it is. He's going to have to push here if he wants to go for it, and he is pushing for it. He's pushing for it to go to the inside line. It's so tight, almost contact as Dougie Falcons goes off the circuit. Not sure how happy Quibus will be about that one, as he's just maintained the position. You can see he's twitching a little bit, not too happy with that move that maybe Dougie just did off the circuit. Although there was a little bit of contact beforehand, there's a very different stage of braking points between the two, almost contact. But I don't think it was anything to really worry about. Quibus looking quick, and in the meantime, as these guys battle hard, Zingy has just got a massive gap. Ruleton, not the right call to go for that extra lap on the strategy. So they've lost so much. They're within the DRS train of the guys ahead. Of course, they are fighting, so he's been able to catch up so quickly. But Ruleton had to warm up those tyres, and it wasn't the best idea. Now they're stuck behind these guys who are fighting hard. Quibus will get a good move into turn 1 here for the first time. It is their first real opportunity. Trying to maintain it round the outside goes Dougie Falcons. A big love tap. Maybe not even a love tap, as now Ruleton's going to challenge to the inside. There's contact. There's contact. Oh, no, no, no. Ruleton is nowhere to be seen. There they are, just a little bit behind as they do manage to save it. Now, let's have a quick look at what just happened there. Quibus makes the move. They try and go a little bit aggressive to make sure Dougie Falcons doesn't come back, of course. It compromises his run towards turn 2. And that does then mean Ruleton is able to challenge. They dive to the inside, goes Ruleton, and they try and maintain it. Not quite sure if Dougie Falcons cut the or cut them off, or just force them onto a tight entry line. If they force them to a tight entry line, it's a risky move, but I'm not sure if it would really be classed as their fault. We'll have to wait and see on the replay, of course, for that. Whereas Ruleton, if they just understeered into Dougie Falcons, then Ruleton's in a bit of, not trouble, because they weren't actually affected too badly. But now, look at the train. Look at the train. It's gone. The train is no longer. Ruleton trying to catch back up to the DRS. They have the DRS, so they're going to try and push for a move on Dougie Falcons. But whereas Dougie Falcons and Quibus, they split up here. Not good news for Dougie Falcons here, and they know Ruleton's pretty quick in a straight line as well, so he's going to be looking good, and especially if he's quicker. Does have a time penalty, so he has to push it sooner rather than later, otherwise he could be in trouble. Dougie Falcons, don't know how good he is at managing his tyres. We saw him do a pretty good job in Italy. Wasn't good enough to go to the end without getting a puncture, but we know that they do dare to go longer, so they might have a chance here, especially with no time penalty. But the win at the moment is looking pretty out of question. Zingy was maintaining that lead, of course, and in the situation, he was able to just keep cool and have that clean air to fight as the back two try to squabble for position. So yeah, really good news for Zingy, and he's looking for a pretty relaxed situation at the moment. Quibus is also looking pretty relaxed at the moment. They've got a time penalty that they might have to worry about, but we'll have to see. Rillaton might have a go at Ducky Falcons here, depending on their exit speed, using the ERS as much as they can. Got the DRS, and look at that straight line advantage. That is absolutely amazing. They're going to challenge to the outside line as Ducky Falcons goes to the inside to try and let him know. A light squeeze, and he's going to have to go off the circuit. Just about fair. Maybe it would have to be investigated, but it's just about fair, I'd say. Not entirely sure. I'll have to look at the replay, of course, of that one. But yeah, Ducky Falcons trying to maintain that position. He doesn't want to let it go. Although Rillaton, he wants to get through. Of course, he's got the time penalty. Bit of a tap, which isn't ideal. Rillaton's situation right now, he wants to get past sooner rather than later so he can extend that time penalty, whereas Ducky Falcons, exactly the opposite. The longer he can keep Rillaton behind, the less laps that Rillaton has to try and escape from Ducky Falcons, and he might be able to maintain a position. Unless the time penalties, of course, aren't legit. We'll have to see about that one later on in the race. But right now, the top two are almost confirmed. They are confirmed. With the gaps that are currently set. Ducky Falcons, however, trying to make it a little bit different for the podium positions. Robbo goes for fastest lap on that medium tyre. Nifo catching slowly to the cars ahead as they battle hard. Rillaton looking for a second opportunity, but last lap they used all their ERS and they won't have another go. They tried to use a bit of ERS here, but at the moment they're just going to have to change their strategy and look at working on a harvesting few laps, which would be saving ERS. Pretty crazy stuff. Very aggressive between these guys. It's very hard racing, but it's just about fair. Maybe we'd have to look into it. Like I said, I can never really say it's all live, so I want to see the replay before I make any final comments, but I'm just saying what I see at the moment in time. Trying to make the best judgment I possibly can. Do not take offense if it is the wrong one. Alrighty. Ducky Falcon's going to once again be under pressure from the papaya behind them. They don't have any ERS to challenge. They save a little bit, of course, throughout the lap. Let's see what will Rillaton be able to do here. They're going to be able to catch a little bit closer to the track extension there. Maybe on the exit, catching. Not going to be close enough unless it's a send to the inside. No, not going to be close enough. And with the low downforce that they have, they just don't have the grip to be able to go deep into the corner and on those brakes. So Rillaton in a very difficult situation, of course, losing that podium position as they were running in, now down to a P4 position. In the meantime, Nifo is just slowly putting their head down and trying to catch back up. Maybe Nifo can get a podium here, of course. They've got no time penalties. They'd still need to try and get past their teammate at this stage as things stand as they are, and he's going to have to be absolutely rapid. It would be under a second a lap to try and catch up to the cars ahead, just under a second a lap. Which isn't impossible if these guys keep fighting like this. So, ideally for Nifo, Ducky Falcons keeps doing this. If he can do this and maintain the position, then he'll still maintain the position himself, but allow his teammate to catch up as Rillaton misses their braking point slightly different braking points between the two drivers, has to go off the circuit, loses a bit of time, so this lap is automatically ruled out for overtakes unless there's going to be a mistake. No overtake this time. Rillaton's going to have to save the ERS for the next lap and then try and push a little bit later on. Maybe that's a blessing in disguise. He's going to have a lap that he's immediately had to abort. There's going to be no temptation to get back onto that ERS, and he can save a bit here. Catches up immediately as we get to turn 2, so Rillaton is very, very quick. It's just about getting close enough. That is the entire circuit of Hungary. You have to get close enough. You have to use the entire lap to build up a move. Otherwise, you are absolutely screwed. Kind of rhymed a little bit. Looking with Zingy right now, he's actually losing time to Quibus. Now, I don't know if he's just trying to save the car, save the tyres, maintain the race, maintain the rhythm, and also not worry about any extra time penalties, or if Quibus is actually pushing here and catching them legitimately. We'll have to see. Zingy, of course, was playing around last weekend with Nifo. Not playing around because they're both very equal, but they were definitely stronger in certain parts of the track, and they were pushing towards the end as well. So is that a similar scenario we have? Quibus looking pretty low. Also, Zingy's looking extremely low, as you can see the red flashing light on the back of their car. So Quibus is actually catching here. They are actually catching, and I just want to double check the time penalties. They would be on for a win if they can get past the Mercedes. That would be very, very good to see for Quibus's point of view, of course. And for Quibus's sake as well. Positions gained, not too many around here. It's just how it goes around Hungary, unfortunately. Zingy taking pole position today. Are they going to convert it into a win, or will it be possible? Didn't get pole position in Japan. Did they get pole position? Was it in the Netherlands? I don't think they got pole position in the Netherlands. I'm not quite sure. Other than that, it is what it is. No, they didn't. They set a very bad lap at the Netherlands. No offence. No, maybe it wasn't the Netherlands. Maybe it was Italy. Then Imola, no pole position. Japan, Singapore, no pole position either. So this is Zingy's first pole of the season. Canada also wasn't a pole position. So Zingy's first pole of the season, and he's looking to convert it into a win. However, the Haas is on their way. The American team looking for the American dream, trying to make it work here. And Quibus is doing a great job. As I said, I think they do have the ability to go for race wins. They just need that rhythm and that edge that Zingy seems to have at the moment. You can see him right ahead. The motivation is there. You can see it's so close. That 20 out of 35 though, they're running out of time. They're running out of time. Rillaton not able to get past Dougie Falcons once again. And look, nope, never mind. We can't quite see Nifo come around the corner in the background, but that is a 5-second gap now that Nifo is doing. So right now, Dougie Falcons is being the ultimate teammate and absolutely masterclassing this defending for Nifo to try and catch up. However, this time Rillaton is getting close, and they might have a go to the inside line. They will have a go to the inside line as they keep it as tight as they possibly can. Will this be Rillaton maintaining or taking the position as Dougie Falcons go so wide? They have the inside line now, trying their best to hold it. Bit of a wheel bang between the two. Rillaton will try and carry it to the outside. Minimal space, just about left. That is pretty crazy. Dougie Falcons extremely creative with the track limits. Not sure how that's going to be taken after the race. But right now, he's being the ultimate teammate, as I said, to Nifo behind. That is pretty incredible stuff. At the moment, we'll say it is masterclass. Track extensions as much as they just did, they got to be careful about. I'm not sure if there will be anything done. Alrighty. Oh, a bit of contact as Rillaton makes a mistake. They're going to lose time themselves, actually, for that in the end, as they have to lift off to avoid any further incidents. So Dougie Falcon's going to recognise that Rillaton's getting restless, and that will look at Nifo. That will allow him to gain so much time. All of a sudden now Zingy's managed to find a bit more of a rhythm. No ERS left for Dougie Falcons, however, as he goes to the inside line. Going to try and defend a switchback is possible for Ruleton if they can get a good exit here with the DRS and the straight line speed. Once again, trying to fake it to the inside, bring it round to the outside line. Who's going to come out in front as he tries to squeeze as much as he can? Now, Ruleton has the inside line. There's a little bit of contact. Up the hill they go. Ruleton's not ahead. They're going to have to back off as Dougie Falcons goes off the circuit slightly, gets himself a time penalty. Ruleton has done an absolute madness there, baited the AlphaTauri into a very awkward line, managed to make that one work, and Ruleton right now could be in a very good position. As long as they can get the move done now, they're going to be looking at a podium, whereas before they had to get the move done, otherwise they might have been in trouble. Nifo 2.2 seconds behind. They're within Ruleton's DRS time penalty range, I should say, so they are going to maintain this position immediately. Once they get to Ruleton, they're going to be very, very close to the Falcons as well. So all of a sudden now, Nifo is looking at a podium, going from P2 all the way down to P6, and now back to the podium positions. Robbo goes once again to the pit lane. Alrighty, Ruleton this time not able to catch up. Robbo goes for a retirement in the pit lane, as they've not been able to get back into this race, unfortunately for them. Right now, everybody that finishes this race will score points, as that is a big mistake from Ruleton there. Loses a lot of time. This could be a turning point if he loses DRS. He's got a little bit of ERS, very similar to Dougie Falcons, not much at all. But Ruleton, he does have a lot of pace in that car, especially on those straights. Very confident in the corners as well. I don't know if they'll be able to catch this back up. Nifo almost there. Actually, look at that. That is amazing from Nifo. They've gained so much time in the corners just there. Might even have a look at DRS if they can push a little bit more. It's so close. They just can't afford to make any mistakes. Don't get greedy, Nifo. You're looking in a very good position at the moment. They are, at the moment, looking at DRS. Are they going to get close enough on the exit? Yes, they've got the DRS. And Nifo might have a chance to, if not have a chance at making the move, they'll be close enough to maintain that DRS and maintain that position. This is amazing stuff. Ruleton dives to the inside line as they try and get it past. Dougie Falcons once again a drag race into turn 2. It's not looking easy as Dougie Falcons still maintains that position, pushing them as wide as he possibly can. This time Ruleton has the advantage. He will have the inside. He could have the run. He will have the run. Dougie Falcons does not have the advantage. He tries to maintain it to the inside line and pushes Ruleton off the circuit. Oh, no. That's not what we want to see. Nifo goes ahead. Ruleton is going to be furious with that one, and that's definitely going to be looked into after the race. Is he actually going to give the position back? No, he's not. He's giving it back to Nifo, as Nifo doesn't have the time penalty, so they're letting him go. That is a very interesting scenario to be in. That is, yeah, that's a weird one. Dougie Falcons could be in trouble here, as Ruleton is going to be furious with that one. They managed to keep it the right way around on the circuit, and I respect that massively. When you're involved in a bit of a iffy situation, it's easy to just get distracted and make mistakes, but Ruleton not doing that today. They might charge here. ERS is being used. They're trying to have another opportunity. So difficult to get done, but they will challenge to the inside again. This time, braking as late as possible. Is a switchback available for the AlphaTauri? But no, it's not. It is not. And that will be Ruleton into the position. He says, how about that? If you're going to get me and push me off on the last lap, I'm just going to make the move. It was nice fighting you, but this time I am gone. Ruleton is now in P4. They unfortunately have lost that podium position, but they still might be able to get back into this race. Up ahead, it's such a big gap. Nifo just needs to keep it relaxed here. They'll be onto the podium, and if there was a mistake from the cars ahead, then they might be able to make another position. But right now the top two are in a league of their own. I wanted to say earlier on, Zingy managed to get back the gap, and it did seem to be that they were controlling the pace. Quibus has caught back a little bit in return, but it's not enough. It's not as close as it was earlier on, of course. Right now, everything is just fizzling out, and this man is looking on top. If you thought Japan was dominant, then think again. This is even more. Zingy trying to make it back-to-back wins after not getting any wins for quite a while. 5 races in a row. That's a pretty long time for the likes of Zingy. So yeah, it's been a while, but he's back here once again. And he's on the penultimate lap of the race. He's got one more to go after this one. And he will be the first driver this season to go for back-to-back wins. 2 wins, in fact. No one has done this so far. It's all been different winners for the first 6 races. But now for the 7th, it's going to change. I think he'll break that record one more time. One more lap. Nifo and Quibus will be right behind on that podium position at the moment. Rillaton, such a great drive, so many epic efforts to battle, but it wasn't enough to try and take the position. Ducky Falcon's been an absolute legend to his teammate at least, and then giving him the opportunity to take that podium with no time penalties. Ducky Falcons realised he's not going to get past Rillaton, but realised he won't actually lose any position, so he's going to go for that fastest lap. It should be pretty easy with the lightweightness of the car, of course, and the grip that he will have. And at the moment, this looks like the race will be decided as it is. Even if Ducky Falcons wasn't to defend from Rillaton, maybe Nifo wouldn't have been able to catch up. But Nifo is an absolute madman, and they're catching so much. Zingy is pushing as hard as they possibly can here on the final lap of the race. You can see the advantage that they've gained on Quibus, and Nifo has gained a lot on Quibus as well. So Quibus making maybe a little bit of a mistake, but he doesn't need to worry. It's the final lap. Just take these points and he will be taking a podium. But look at this guy. Zingy comes down the final corner for an absolute masterclass. What a legend today. Pole position and the win. Zingy wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. We got Quibus taking the P2 in the end. And Nifo, out of all of that today, they will take that P3 spot in the end. Rillaton doing their best to get that podium, but it wasn't quite enough. A P4, and Ducky Falcons pushing for the final lap for the fastest lap, as EagerPro currently holds it, but a purple middle sector. It's looking promising for the AlphaTauri to get that one last extra point. They go across the line. What's it going to be? And it will be our fastest lap there. Ducky Falcons P5. EagerPro will come around the final corner to take a P6. Not sure if they'll have another go at a fastest lap or not. We'll have to see. PJ will finish in P7. Zingy's done it. Well done. Well done to Zingy. Ducky Falcons did get fastest lap in the end. The Mercedes once again extending their championship lead. Don't think the AlphaTauris would have gained enough to get it on the constructors, but that is absolutely amazing from Zingy. Well deserved. I would like to see what happened earlier on in the race, but that will be for later, of course. Zingy on his way to the podium 2 weeks in a row. He is back, ladies and gentlemen. The Nightmare. It's kind of a stolen nickname, but it is what it is. Zingy, P1, Quibus in P2, and then we have Nifo in P3. We've got Rillaton, Ducky Falcons, EagerPro, and PJ finishing off the order. Robbo takes a DNF, unfortunately. David as well, followed by Heischler early on in the race. Then we have the rest of the race director, just in case we need to check it later on. And then we will be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. Post-race interviews, I meant to say. Hello everyone and welcome back to the LSI F1 Championship. We're today for the post ratings. Use the Hungarian Grand Prix. That was a exciting race despite the small grid. So yeah, really good one to watch with all the strategy going on and of course the time penalties. We start the interviews with Nefo. Nefo, it was a tricky race. Of course, you were looking so good at the beginning, taking P2 in quali, and you were able to maintain that for a while. Bit of a tricky incident which caused you to drop down. Can you take us through the rest of the race?
Yeah, I mean, qualifying, I again didn't finish my final run, which I mean was expected, but I mean P2 was fine for me. All race just it was such a small gap to Zingy, and the first lap was really close side by side, which was fun. Then I started to feel nauseous. I can't turn my head still. I don't know what's going on or what I'm feeling, but I didn't feel optimum driving the car. Like I just had to stay still as possible while still trying to push. And then Zingy went wide into the corner. I don't know if he hit me or not, but at least we got very close, making me lose the car going wide. And then I hit him on his back wheel, which made me spin, but he was fine. And then just from there on, the lap later I spun again because of the overheating on the tires. And then from there on, it was just recovery, just driving lap per lap.
Yeah.
And I got helped with, I think Doggy pushed Ruleton wide into turn 4. So I could sneak past them, and then Doggy let me by for some reason. I think he saw that I would overtake him anyway, which I mean, it's fine. Then he's driving, trying to get into the penalty Quibus, but with 2 laps left, and it's just impossible. But I mean, it was damage limitation, but I can't keep making these mistakes.
It's still a great effort, even after the issues, and of course with the what am I trying to say? Issues that you've had with your feeling a bit ill during the race. You've done a very, very good job, so I think you should be happy with yourself despite the issues. USA is a difficult track, but do you think you can do well there? Do you like it? Is it a better track for you than Hungary?
I absolutely hate it. But we'll try. I mean, Hungary didn't feel that well going into the race, but I was still very close until the spin. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, awesome. Well, I hope it goes better next time around in USA. It's a very difficult track and lots of people hate it, so obviously there'll be... I reckon some people won't like it, they won't want to practice it as much, so those people that do practice will be a lot quicker than the rest. But yeah, other than that, one last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
I can't turn head.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
I'm just going to quickly say that again, just in case I didn't quite say that. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next weekend for the USA Grand Prix. Bye-bye.